It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, April 21st, 1968. I was a 5-year-old boy among the thousands of people gathered right here to witness the opening of what is now a historical landmark. My 35-year-old father, a young Professor Richard Hovannisian, who was the chairman of the board of the Armenian Monument Council, took his familiar place behind the mic and explained the importance of this permanent testament to the past and promise to the future. It was a grand pageant of epic proportions. This entire place was packed. You couldn't see a patch of grass below your feet, with almost a festive feeling, even though it was the most somber of occasions. The program started with an honor guard from the local American Legion Post 272 of Montebello and a national anthem played by the Marine Band who'd come up from Camp Pendleton, the booming sounds of the tubas and trombones and trumpets stretching from the hills down to the canyons below. Then came what can be described as nothing other than an all-star lineup from the who's who of the Armenian community's leaders at the time. Moving tributes by Vasgen Minasyan, who was the president of the Monument Council. Michael, in my family, Uncle Machitar Minasyan, the vice president of the council, and the door opener extraordinaire of anything that had to be done. A youthful state senator by the name of George Dukmejian, an even younger assemblyman by the name of Walter Karabian, and George Mondosian, who was the chairman of the construction committee. Every single one of them in their 30s. None of them had yet reached their 40th year. And then something incredible happened. In a scene you usually only see in the movies, a big military helicopter landed on the grass flats right there. Its long blades turning, its powerful rotors spinning, the wind gusts were bending the branches on those trees, which I remember to be bigger at the time, and washing through the crowd. The hatch opens from the helicopter, and down comes Ronald Reagan, the super popular governor of California. He took the stage, spoke into the microphone as if on a director's cue, looked into our eyes and filled our hearts with eloquent warmth and empathy and solidarity. For a moment it seemed like all of the stars had aligned and all of our prayers had been answered. I've mentioned several names so far, and will mention just a few more, because without these pioneering men and women, we wouldn't be here today. There would be no Mesrabian school, there would be no Ferayan school, there would be no Pilibo school, there would be no Manugyan school, there would be no Holy Martyrs, no Holy Cross, no St. Peter's, and no St. Gregory. Without that generation of giants whose children and grandchildren are here under this tent, this Hush Artsan, and Artsan of memory would not be reaching high into the sky, and for nearly 60 years, this would not have become the sacred grounds, our shared space of collective memory and continuing inspiration. Among that great generation of builders were Oshin Keshishan, Misak Sevacherian, Archie Dekranyan, Kero Parakelian, the Manjikians, the Arshagunis, and Fundukians. From every first one of them to every last one of them, made men and women. They made this monument. They insisted that it happen. And similar to a lot of other things they did, like building schools and churches and community organizations and influence, it wasn't easy, but it had to be done. Turkey then in 1967 and 1968, like now, with its chronic illness of denialism, tried to rob this community of its right to remembrance. It did so back then by pressuring and threatening the then Montebello City Council, first by trying to have the City Council kill this project, and then once they failed to do that, they enlisted their Turkish diplomats to sanitize the inscription that you will see there today. Sanitize it in a way that takes away the name of the perpetrator of the crime of genocide of the Armenian people. The name of the criminal, Ottoman Turkey, is on that plaque today. So Montebello didn't buckle then, and it rose to the occasion now. We called out the name of the perpetrator. The Turks and their operatives scurried away to deny another day. I close by saying this is a moment when we recall the depths to which humanity can sink when evil is flourishing, ignored for too long by the world. That evil has unfortunately flourished for the last 5 years, as Azerbaijan tries to do with Artsakh what Ottoman Turkey tried to do more than 110 years ago to Western Armenia. The complete annihilation and displacement of the Armenian population on and from their native lands. In a world that remains full of turmoil, full of strife and double standards, in which there's been a dangerous re-emergence of Armenophobia, there can be no more important message than this one. The message is this: we all, those who built this monument and those who continue to honor it, the diaspora as a whole, alone or in partnership with the Republic of Armenia, are ready, willing, and able to take complete and exclusive responsibility for righting the wrongs of the past. And that begins, as it did in 1968, with the proper measure of remembrance. Doesn't end there. And then we move on to, as we have, to trying to be made whole as much as possible, even though we can't be made whole. This monument truly blossomed from the bud of an idea into an essential hub for the community. Thank you, Senator Archuleta, and our and your public official partners for making sure that this remains eternal.